Yeah, yes, guys. Do you have any questions, guys, in the contains method? All of you understand it? Any doubts? How to use contains function and what is the use of that contains function and where we can use it? Okay. Any questions? Hello.
No questions.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, guys. Now let us see the next function. Ends with. So ends with a function is similar to contains function, but the difference is using contains function. You can use any of these substrings, starting substring or middle substring or ending substring, anything you can use, right? In the contains method. But using this ends with the function, you can define only ending substring of any attribute. Guys, see for example, let me take this. See here, end login underscore button. We are using contains, right? Here I can use ends with also. Ends hyphen with. No, it is not working. Ends with is not working, guys. Okay, let us take starts with is working. I'm going to define here royal, right? Starting text. Then yeah, royal underscore login. Okay, yes. Royal underscore login, and I define here starts with is working, guys. Ends with is not working. Okay, so let me remove that. Don't use this. Ends with not working, guys. So you can remove it. Only starts with function is working good. So starts with means here you can define any starting substring of any attribute using this function. Only this function can be used only to define a starting substring of any attribute, guys. So you can see here it is the XPATH we defined using starts with. I'm copying it and let me define that here. See, I'm using it here in the login button for login button. See here, I'm defining Spark. I see here. Let me comment forget a link. Button is HTML tag and starts with, we are using this function. Data test ID is the attribute. And what is the starting substring? Royal underscore login is the starting substring. Okay, guys, you got it now? See, that means here you can use this function to identify any element by using a starting substring of that particular attribute. Okay, guys, that means substring which begins with. You should define the substring that begins with for any attribute or HTML text you can use here. So that is the meaning of starts with. It is used to define starting substring of any attribute. Any attribute, guys. Attribute or HTML text also you can, for any HTML text also you can apply this function. So that is the use of starts with. So example. So this is the example. Yeah. Let's now see that next function, following function, following. As here, this following function, I will show you some different. Yeah, let us take this example for following Facebook, not the Facebook. The demo QA buttons, guys. Demo QA. See, in demo QA, let us take here. Yes, here I'm copying this checkbox. Let me take checkbox. I'm copying this method, pasting it inside XPATH class. So I will give demo QA checkbox. The name is demo QA checkbox. Checkbox. Guys, here this is the XPath we are using to identify elements button, elements card. Is it right? It is the elements card in the home page. We are using XPath. See, let me run this. Let me run this. Call this method in the main method. Comment this Facebook login. I'm calling this method. Now run it. URL is not given. It's that URL. That is not copied. Yes, 1 second. You have to copy this. Control C. Write this statement in the main method, not here. Is there. So I'm writing these 2 lines of code in the main method. Okay, guys. Control X. These 2 lines in every method, not required. In all methods, we have to remove this. It's fine. Okay, guys. So in the main method, you are open launching the browser. We are setting the Chrome driver path, and then we are launching the browser. Then we are calling this method. Inside this method, what we are doing? We are launching the URL. We are navigating to this particular URL. Then maximize the window. Yeah. Okay, guys. So now say this button. Now let me run it. That application should open. Yeah, yes. So it is working fine, right? Now let us see this home page elements button, how we defined XPath. Okay. So this is the, where is that, guys? This one, right? It is the element we are using to identify this element, guys. Now here, see, this is element is child element of this parent element, right? So that is why we are using a single slash after defining this element in the XPath. We are using single slash. Is it right? After that, we are defining this element. Is it right, guys? See that how script XPath is defined here. It is the parent element. So this parent element is defined with the class attribute. After that, we are defining first child element. Is it right, guys? But so since I want to define this division element as a child element, I am using here single slash because I want to define this division as a child element. That's why I defined here single slash. See, I can define this XPath in another way. Okay, guys, see that here. Now, I will ignore that. This element is a child element. Okay, guys. Suppose assume that this element is not a child element, but this element is defined after this element. This element may not be a child element sometimes. Okay, guys. So in that case, in such case, how you can define, see that I can identify the same element like this. First find this parent element, and from this parent element, I can identify this element as a first child. That is one way. Or another way of identifying this element, see that here, find from this element, find the next following element. That means find the element which is displayed after this element, which is coming after this element. Following means the next element which is coming after this element. That is the meaning of that. Following is nothing but the next element after this element. So the next element, it can be a child element or it may not be a child element. The next element means the meaning is here that next element may be child element or it may not be also child element. If it is a child element, you can use simply slash, single slash. It will work fine. Suppose if it is not a child element, then you can't use slash. Understand, guys? Then how you can identify that element? There is a way. There is a way. What is that? Using following function. See, following function means what is the meaning of that? The next element. The next element, the next following element. That is the meaning of following function, guys. See that here, how I'm going to define this. I will remove this slash now. Yes, slash stands for next child element. Is it right, guys? See, but if I define following method, following function after the slash, I'm going to defining here following function. Following function. Following with two colons. I should define. Yeah, I see that here. See, when you should use this following function, if this element is not a child element of this element, guys. If this element is a child element of this element, then this following is not required. Just simply slash is enough. But this element, if it is not a child element of this parent, so then how to identify this element? By adding a following function. See, like this, following, not the brackets here. You should use two colons. 2 colon characters should be defined. See, that means from this element, I want to find the next element with the tag name division. With the tag name division. See, there can be multiple division elements after this element, guys. See, if you look at this in this application, after this element, there are multiple division elements are there. Is it right? 6 division elements are there. So from these multiple division elements, I want to find the first division element. All of you clear, guys? Guys, if I define here, if I remove this simply following, what is the meaning of this? It identifies from this element, from this parent element, it identifies first child division element. That is the meaning of that. All of you clear? Suppose if this division element is not a child element, then this XPATH will not work. If this division is not a child element, then how to identify that? By using this function. Sorry, following, not function, following. Following function with two colons. See now how the meaning is changing, XPath meaning. From this parent element, you find the next first division element. Next element, which is coming after this element, first division element I want to find, which is coming after this division. All of you clear, guys? Now let us see that this XPath is working or not. Copy this and check this, guys. Is it identifying that element or not?
So we need not remove the child element, sir. Child attribute.
Yeah, 1 second, ma'am. Coming. One second. Now it is identifying zero element. All of you clear? Following division. It is highlighting. It is the parent element. Okay. Slash following division. Slash and it is going to this element directly. That is ignoring these two divisions. Before this division, there are three division elements are there, right? It is a parent element. From this parent element, it should find the next element, which is coming after this parent element. But it is highlighting this element. Why directly? It is not highlighting this one, and this one. Something wrong. Find single slash nothing is okay. 1 second, yes. Why it is highlighting this element alone directly? Zero is identified. And this element directly, not this one. this. It's coming directly to this element. Why it is not coming here? This element. This element. Yes, let me take this a second. Input. It's first input, right? Second. Yeah, okay, guys. Here, let me take this example. It's not coming. Yes, I'll come here. This following why it is not taking. Maybe I thought I think what's happening here. So it is finding this element, not this one also. This one also. I hope so, guys. I assume that only this is the element next visible. I think so in this screen. See from this parent element. Okay, guys. After that, the visible next division element. I think so only this one. That's why it is going here directly. Okay. Now let us see this example, guys. See now what I'm trying to do. Say that. Let me check that first. Is it working or not? Guys, see that first I am going to identify this element, guys. See, actually, I want to identify this element, password text box. All of it clear? Assume that for this password, there is no unique attribute available. But for this email text box, there is some unique attribute is available. So now you can try to identify this element by using this element. So like this also you can define XPATH. All of you understand, guys? For this password, let us assume, okay, there is no unique attribute available to identify this element directly. All of you clear? Just assumption. But for this email ID, there is some unique attribute available. We are able to identify this element, text box element, email text box, but not the password text box. So now if it is a situation is like that, how you can try XPath? First to identify this email text box. And from this email text box, you can come to password using XPath. All of it clear? So let us try this way now and see that using following method. Will it, is it working or not? Okay, guys. Let us see that. Let's see that. This is the password. Is it right? Now we are using ID. Okay, now I will remove this and I will define. Find here XPath. First, I will identify this email. I'll have it clear, guys. I will identify this email text box. So I'm copying this XPath. I copied, guys. So this is the XPath to identify email text box. See, from this email text box, I want to identify following input. Let us see this, guys. Is it working or not? Okay. Is it highlighting this password text box or not? Okay, guys. Control F. Yes, see, look at that. It is it highlighting password, but there are three elements are there. So how I can find remove that to one element, define first element. Now say that it is coming only one element. All of it clear? That means first we are identifying email text box, and after this email text box, I want to find the first text box which is displaying. First text box. After this email, I want to find the first text box. That means I want to find the first input element. I want to find first input element after this email text box. Guys, if you see here, this is the email text box. It is the email text box. After this email text box, I want to find first input element. Say after this input text element, what is the way we have next immediate input element? See, it is division. Correct? It is also division. So this is the input. See, this input element, there is no direct relation. to this element and to this element. All of you clear? See, this element is not a parent element of this element. But how you are making it, right? Relation, see that. First you are coming here. After that, from here, how you are coming to this element? After this element, find the first input element, which is displaying, which is coming after this input element. From this input element, you go to the next input element, wherever it is coming. So this element may be in another parent element, not a problem. It can find the next coming input element I want to find. So that is how it is coming directly here from this element. See, in this XPath, if you see here, so I will remove it here. See, this is the first element we are finding, first parent element. What is the parent element is identifying here? See that this is the email text box is identifying. I'll understand, guys, by using ID attribute. After this, I want to go directly the next input element. Here it is. So how you can come here directly? By using following function. See, the following means don't say that or assume that this element should be immediately to the next to this element. No need. This element may not be not immediate next element. Understand, guys? This element is, see, displaying after few HTML elements from here. Understand? But in between, there is no other input element. Understand? So I want to find the next input element from this email text box. I want to find the next coming input element. So that is password element. So that is how it is identifying this element. Guys, see that now slash following double colon, then I'm defining input. See, if I define simply input, see, there are three elements are there. After this element, after this email text box, there are three input elements are available. But I want to find only one element. So let us define here index number, first element. So now it is giving only one element, guys. So it is working fine. So this is the XPath we defined here. Let's see this one. First, we are defining email text box using ID attribute. And from here, I am going to next input element, next first input element. All of you clear, guys? How you are using following function. So general scenario where you can use this following function. So this is the scenario. See, this text box can be identified with some unique attribute. But for this text box, if there is no unique attribute is available. Understand, guys, there is no HTML text available and there is no unique text, unique attribute also available. So in that case, you cannot directly identify this element. Then what is the other way? You find the previous text box element, which is having some unique attribute, and from there come here. So that is how you can define, right, following function in XPath, guys. So what it is meaning of following? Identifies, to identify the next element, which is displayed after this element, after the current element, guys. That is the meaning of this following. See, this is the current element. We are here right now. So from this current element, after this current element, whichever the first element displayed, input element, I want to find that. So that is the example, guys. Let me copy this. Yes, understand here. See, in this case, right, why it is not working, as I told you, right? The element, right? This element may not be visible. That's why it is coming directly with the next visible element, I guess. It is not identifying. See, this is the parent element we are identifying. From this parent element, I want to find this element actually, the next immediate element. Since this element is not displaying here in the application, not visible, so directly it is coming the next visible element, I guess. That's why here it is not highlighting this element. Instead of highlighting this element, it is highlighting this element, guys. So don't use it here. So this is a good example, okay, for following. So in this kind of scenarios, we can use this following function, guys. Now see that here, the next one more, following sibling function. Following sibling function. Following sibling and following, both are similar, but with small difference. What is the difference is, I will, yeah, first let us see, guys, one example for this. So is it working? Let me check here. One slash following sibling. Okay, that's a good example. Where we can take this following sibling, guys. Let me say this. Guys, here I will explain you what is the difference between following and following sibling. Just see here. You can now, we are using here following, right? Following we are using. See, this is the current element. From here, we are coming to this next input element by using following function. See, when you should use following sibling, following sibling should be used the following element and the current element. These two elements are at the same levels, are at the same level. That means this element and this element both should be siblings. That means brothers or sisters. That means these two elements should have same parent. Suppose if these two elements are having same parent, all of you understand, guys, and this element is coming next to this element. So in that scenario, following sibling should be used, guys. Following sibling in the sense, nothing but the next element which is coming, that element also should have same parent. And that is coming after this element. So that is the meaning of following sibling, guys. That means the next upcoming element and the current element, both elements should be at the same level. Same level in the sense, see that, guys, this one, I can show example, say to understand, to make it same level. You can see that here, guys. So this is the parent element, understand? And this is a child element, and it is also child element. So this element and this element both are at the same level. So all these elements are siblings. These are all sibling elements. These are all sibling elements. This one from here and up to here, all these division elements are siblings. Understand? Because all these elements are having same parent and all these elements are at the same level in the HTML file. All of you clear, guys? The sibling means. Suppose now you are currently here, then I want to find this element. Then I can use following sibling. Following sibling. See, very simple. If I use only following function, what is the meaning of that? The next element can be at any level. You no need to bother about that. So this element can be in another, inside in another element, no issues. But when you use following sibling, the next upcoming element should be a sibling of the current element. That is the meaning of that. When you should use following sibling, the next element should be a sibling of the current element. Only in that case, you should use this following sibling, guys. If that next element is not a sibling element, then you should not use following sibling. Just use only following. That's all. Also, you got this point, guys. Say following sibling means. So this function should be used. Okay. This function. Yes, here one more important point. In the following function, the next element can be at any level. No need to be a sibling. Understand, guys? The next element can be at any level. No need to have same the same parent. Love it clear, guys. But here, this function, following sibling function, you can use function used to identify the next element, which is displayed after the current element, and the next element should be a sibling of the current element, guys. So that is the following sibling function, guys. So this function should be used in very specific scenario. You should use this function. Yes. Yes. Similarly, preceding function, guys. Preceding function is opposite to a following function. See, the following function we are using to find the next element, right? That means the element which is displaying after the current element. Preceding means you can identify the element which is displaying before the current element. That is called preceding function. In the following function, you are identifying the element which is displayed after the current element. That is the following. Preceding means it identifies the element which is displaying before the current element. Understand, guys? See, now let us see that. You can take the same example. I can identify this password element, and from here I want to go back. I want to identify the element which is displayed before this element, before this password element. So then you can use preceding. Let us see this. See, input HID equal to pass. That is the, see, password element is highlighted. Understand, guys? From here, you can go back. I can go to the before element now. Slash preceding input. See that here.